Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Nicholas Lionrider, and welcome back to our next episode of our Let's Build of the Roger Williams Park Zoo. Since last time, a lot of changes have happened. The South American DLC dropped, and so I made a few alterations to the entire zoo. As you can see over here, I added the new tire object to the game that replaced my old primitive one that I made in the last episode. I also used some of the new pieces, like the bamboo, to basically tidy up the Masai market. Another big thing that I think you might see is I basically did all of the pathing for the elephant giraffe section, so it's all nice and clean now. I also laid out the entire elephant house. And overall, I also changed up this building over here, the Dunkin' Donuts, so it's a little more accurate to real life, including the whole surrounding area. I made the outlook area now wood, so that's accurate to real life. But today we are going to be working on the Masai Giraffe area, which is going to be over here, and then maybe a little bit of their interior bit today. The remainder of the elephant and giraffe house will be completed next episode. And as a little bonus, since this episode took a little bit longer than usual, if we go back over to the zebra and wildebeest exhibit, where is Skittles? Skittles, where are you? Where is she? We were looking for our wildebeest. There she is. I have finally changed her. She is now a proper blue wildebeest and not a black wildebeest. So that mod will be up for download, and I hope you guys all enjoy that one. So without further ado, let's get to the giraffes.
So starting out, we're basically going to just finish where we left off last time, which is basically working on those fences. But a thing that is in front of the giraffe exhibit that I wanted to touch on was this giraffe feeding station. So me and my girlfriend have tried to go to this many times, but it's always like a packed line during the summer, and unfortunately it's closed during the winter. But basically you pay like $5 and they give you some leaves, and then you're able to buy the tickets here, show up at a given time, and basically you can feed the giraffes. So it's a common thing at a lot of zoos, but I'll actually say that $5 is relatively cheap compared to a lot of places. I know Southwick Zoo, just, in Mendon, Mass, basically charges like $30 to $40 for a giraffe feeding session. So $5 for an entire thing of leaves is a pretty good deal, and they do it right on the spot. The only issue is, of course, it's first come, first serve. So you could be waiting in a line. Funny story about the last time we went, basically, we were at the cutoff line, basically. We were right in front of where we should have been, ready to, buy our tickets, and then they're like, nope, sorry, line ends here, and it was right on us, and it was really unfortunate. But hopefully, after the whole virus thing is taken care of, we can, go feed some giraffes. But basically, the feeding station is actually I guess, modification to the old viewing area, which they've now kind of boarded off. And it's kind of unfortunate because this used to be the definitive way to look at the giraffes. It's a pretty nice area. It's a bit similar to how the zebra and cheetah and stuff habitats are. A little bit different, but it was a nice way to view them. But unfortunately now, like I said, you can only view them from this perspective if you are at the feeding station. So I'm actually using the giraffe sign to basically make some of the posters that are on the walls. So you can see me right here. I'm using those fonts again to write the giraffe feeding sign and add a little bit of decoration. In a minute, you can actually see me use the new South American leaf objects. I haven't been able to use them, but I actually really like them. They're pretty much just as good as the other leaf patterns, and so I just kind of use them there. I added a little bench that I could see on Google Images. They have that, but I also remember from way back then they've had that bench there. So basically now I'm just kind of, painstakingly modifying the, fences to go up this hill. Because now we're in the part of the zoo that has a lot of elevation, which, is why I did the pathing system and stuff off camera, because I knew it was going to be a pain and it just wasn't going to be fun. So I included this little bit in just because, even though it was painstaking and there's that stupid, warning or whatever in the center of my screen, which I eventually just click off because it was annoying me. I basically just, go around and add all of the fences, and then I fix any, holes and stuff in the fences after by adding some sticks. There you go. I basically, turn off all my alerts and stuff. Then about 50, or a little bit close to the interior of the giraffe and elephant house, the fencing kind of changes, so I mix it up and use the new South American bamboo fences. And another thing that I want to mention are these new Brazil nut trees. I absolutely love them. They are my new favorite tree. They are exactly what I wanted out of the oak trees or the beech trees or anything. We needed just a super long tree that I can just sink into the ground to be a given height, because like I've always complained, the oak trees and stuff are great, I love them, but the leaves start way too low on the ground, about 6 feet above the player, and it's terrible. So making trees like this that have a super long tree trunk, and then you can kind of modify so that the canopy is at appropriate height so that you can actually see animals and not have it obstructing your view, is really great. There's not much to say about this rock wall. It wraps around pretty much the whole giraffe exhibit, so I basically just go around and I'm just dotting rocks and stuff. I use only one type of rock. I know a few other people in the community like to mix up some of the rocks just for color sake. I like these to all be the same. I use the taiga set, I believe, just because I think it's the most, similar to how the zoo's rocks are. They're just basically a standard gray. And so I just like to mix those up. And since I come from a background in game development, I know that the key to making, 4 or 5 rocks look really good is just you want to rotate and modify them a lot and then smash them together. So basically that's all I'm doing. I'm just kind of going around dotting the area with the smaller rocks until I get those piles, and then from there just kind of mixing in the foliage. So I'm just covering up that little bit that I missed, which is just a little bit of trees and that sort of thing. Rounding out the rocks, I think I go back in a minute and I finish the other rock path over by where the giraffe holding area is. The male giraffe is often kept there separate from the females. Which is funny because he's actually the youngest of them. He was a baby born at the zoo. I remember inside the elephant house they always showed his birth and stuff. And now he's a big boy. Now he's about 19 feet tall, and he's the darkest of the giraffes and definitely the biggest. And so he's probably my favorite out of them. Another thing I wanted to comment on right here about these little rocks is I'm mixing up the basic rocks, and I'm also modifying the terrain and using the rock texture just so that it basically looks a little bit smoother when I'm making these kind of bigger rock mounds. That's just a small technique I picked up. It's a kind of common technique. It's especially useful if you're making really large mountains or canyons and stuff. You want to kind of mix up the rock objects and the rock terrain. Past that, like I said, this episode isn't super complex. The giraffe exhibit it's got some elevation and a little decoration on the sides, but for the most part the actual layout is pretty simplistic. So here you can basically see me towards the end of the episode just kind of messing with the interior and where I actually want to drop off these giraffes, because I had to mess with where they're placed as well as the African elephants and where they're placed. So basically I settled on having their spawn area be inside one of the service areas. I added a trade center and a keeper stall and stuff, and this is basically where they're going to take care of the giraffes. And then in a minute you see me, I basically try to modify the interior to add the bedding down, which is actually pretty accurate to how it is in real life. They have a bunch of hay on the inside of their viewing area. So I just dot that around, basically cover the entire thing, and in the next episode I'm going to be doing the actual interior of the elephant house. So just basically before I finish, just kind of adding the giraffes in, modifying the interior layout so that they can't escape anything. But past that, we're pretty much done. So thanks for watching. A little bit of a short episode this time. But stay tuned next time, because we're going to be doing the interior of the giraffe and elephant house. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later, guys.